All right, we are just about ready to get underway. And there's actually one other really big difference that could turn the tide of battle here. And that is the fact that one of them is running 3 copies of Pot of Desires, and the other is running 0.
Yep, that is definitely a big one. Also, just Gibson's like, he only has 2 Gofu as well. Gofu is one of the...
It seems like he's not maxing out on the cards that he wants to see.
Exactly,
early.
yeah. When you think about the best Metal Foes hand, it doesn't even have, like, the 2 cards you first think of aren't Metal Foes cards. You think of Gofu, Bunbuku, right?
Yep.
Because you get an 8, you get to search a Kyrian, you have all these tokens to do stuff with. It really opens up. You have any amount of Metal Foes in your hand, things are going good. But, you know, only 2 Gofu, no Pot of Desires. It's going to be interesting.
All right. And you can probably immediately tell
which one's
who's
Chansy.
who. It's the guy on the right.
Yeah. Wigglestove, very known for doing everything upside down. So.
Does it for his opponent's benefit.
Yeah.
If he plays the cards that way, they can read them right away.
Yeah. Press second champ. Good old writing down the hand for everyone at home. But he's going to deal with it the same way Wigglestove does.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a pretty good opening hand with a pair of Metal Foes, Gofu, and a pair of Maxis.
Yeah, that is nice. Gibson also opened up Rabbit, though. That's a big one. Not as big as we've seen Rabbit, you know, in the past, but still a solid one.
Wigglestove's up first. Special summons Gofu and summons 2 tokens.
Yep.
He then activates his Metal Foes Volflame very helpfully, showing his opponent what it does. Not that he doesn't know, since he's got a gold driver in his hand, which does the same thing.
It's that Metal Foes Fusion. And I'm most likely going to place the other one. Yep. Is it normal summon? Yeah, so he normal summons it so he can get into the extra deck, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's in the extra deck right there. Now the token is a normal monster.
Yeah, very important for how this deck works. Looks like he's just going to Zulkin it up.
Oh, yes, he is playing Zulkin, huh?
Yeah, the interesting choice, too, there, right? Not everyone is playing Ultimate Zulkin also, but he doesn't even have the extra card to set in his hand. It's double Maxi. So he's going to try to dig for it with the draw he gets off of the Metal Foes Fusion.
That's absurdly dangerous.
With Maxi, though, it might not be the worst, but yeah, like, it's definitely a risky play. But it's high risk, high reward, right? Oh, he finds a spell, I think. And that's really what he needed. Yeah, part of it. Oh,
he just activates it.
I don't know if that's
right.
I don't know.
He's not synchroing Zulkin and then setting it.
Yeah,
and
it was so perfect. Well, I guess like regardless, if he draws any Melfos, it's setting a card too. So maybe that's how he's doing it. But you don't lose anything by doing it first, right?
Right. Thank you. Maybe he just wants to wait to make the decision until after he sees what he gets.
Maybe. That makes sense because you have multiple options off of what to summon with Zulkin. What does he got? The usual Void Ogre,
Crystal Wing, Void Ogre.
You see? I don't. Oh yeah, there's Void Ogre. Yeah.
I mean Ignister if you need it, but you don't need it yet. There's Ultimate Zulkin. Very strange card to be sure. It has no level stars on it, but it's treated as level 12.
It is the dragon, right? From 5Ds.
It's from the manga.
Oh, okay.
This was a card used by, I believe, Rex Goodwin.
What? That's crazy. This whole entire time, I was under the impression that it was like the dragon, like the 5D pieces, but no, crazy. Rex Goodwin, huh?
Yep, and it has an upgraded form from Premium Gold 3, which was Ultimatal Bishpulkin, the Phantasmal something or another lord.
Ah, more letters. Oh, I drew Bunbuku. That's a good one.
All right, so Crystal Wing, Synchro Dragon, and a pair of face downs go with Ultimate Zulkin.
Yeah, the Maxi's really going to be the kicker here. Not the best in the Melfo mirror, but still just a way to force your opponent where anytime you have a field, right, if you have Maxi to back it up, it's just real bad. Because your opponent's...
Thing, though, like in the Metal Foam mirror, it's normally not that great, but when you deal with Rescue Rabbit, it suddenly gets a lot better because they have to make 2 summons.
Yep. Yeah, Gibson's definitely going to get hit hard by it. Looks like Gibson's planning on his turn where he's going to eccentric and then use the other spell in his hand. Is it Mystical Space Typhoon? Yeah. He's going to just try to clear away the back row to make sure the Rabbit Summon goes through, but then he's going to get hit by that Maxi, and things are going to go real south real quick.
This is a rough opening.
Yeah. Yeah, we got eccentric in the scale.
Eccentric goes first. Let's bring her up. She's a spell effect here, so Crystal Wing can't be used against it. destroys herself and another Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yep.
So that's the same result as what would have happened otherwise.
Yep, and the other one's Pot of Desires, I believe, is what he drew off the Desires. Yep.
Comes next. Still gets a card out of it.
How do you feel about sending both those cards there versus, like, you get opened up to Twin Twister and a few other things. I guess if you're playing around Mystical Space Typhoon or Archfiend Eccentric, it's a little better because you give them a 50-50. But Twin Twister gives you such an interesting dynamic with that. It's sort of reminiscent of, like, you know, Heavy Storm and committing multiple back row.
I want to say that Gold Driver is in a pendulum zone, but
Yeah, I
it
believe
kind of
so,
looks
too.
like a field spell.
Yep.
So that and Bunbuku. So that's levels 2 through 4.
Yep, and that
And
draws the
Maxi is
Maxi.
activated.
is just going to, oh, Pendulum for 3. First thing I thought that was a concession, but
Can't be special summoned from the deck, but you can special summon it elsewhere.
Rescue Rabbit, the cutest thing that has ever dominated a format, I'm sure.
And that's interesting because Eccentric can only use the effect once per turn.
But it's each effect once, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he can still force out the Crystal Wing here.
Yeah.
And you can negate this, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'll use Rabbit's effect.
So you banish, right?
Yeah.
Looks like he didn't even
And
want to bait
it looks like he used the Rescue Rabbit first because he really wants the Crystal Wing to go because he
Yeah.
can then attack Zulkin.
That makes sense.
That's what's going on there.
You can only use the effect once per turn.
It's each one in different zones. That's the spell effect, and then there's the monster effect.
Yep, just clarifying that each effect is once per turn.
Yeah, but the pop monster is going to be, you can only use this effect, the Archfiend effect, Eccentric, once per turn to pop the monster.
And I don't know if
Yeah,
that was
so
necessarily the
So
right
you
order in
pop-
which to do things. I think in that case you would just...
Yeah, okay, I see.
Actually, no, 'cause it's only use, not activate, huh?
With Eccentric.
Yeah. Yeah, it's use, not activate, so negating the activation would not reset your ability to do it.
Yeah, so you're saying if he tried to burn through the negation, then use the second one, but because it says use, even
Right.
trying to activate it is using the effect.
Yeah, that's just one of those extra random Yu-Gi-Oh rules that doesn't really need to exist, but it was created in response to Great Shogun Shien, basically, seeming like a complete lockout, and it's just stuck since.
Nice. Oh,
Now Chansey
still
appears
found a
to
rabbit
have
of his own.
picked up his own rabbit, and he still has a
And a
Max
spell
C.
card. What's the spell card?
Is that another Pot of Desires?
It looks like I can't imagine what else it is.
Like it is, but I don't think you play that before the rabbit. Might just banish everything you're going to summon.
Oh, it might be Painful Decision. Oh no, it's Desires. No, it's definitely Desires. Never mind. No, you have to summon the rabbit first. Even though you want to have perfect information before you commit to anything, just the fact that like you have the chance to get unlucky with Desires.
See what he goes for here. It's 2 silvers, 1700 attack, level 3. Very interesting position he's left in.
Yeah, that Maxi is definitely going to be. Actually, no, it's still you're past the point now where it's good, right? Because you either just pop it off draw phase, trying to make sure that that pendulum summon doesn't get too crazy, or you just wait for a better spot. But I don't know how much of a better spot. You'd have to go into the mid game where they're trying to do stuff with Mithrilium and full Malphos fusion to really get 2 draws out of it.
Attacks with both, get some damage in. Now let's see if he summons or uses his Volflame here.
Phase 2.
I believe Breaksword is his.
At this point,
One.
you don't think you just Desires first?
He might be concerned about his deck count.
That could be true.
Well, he's got.
He just destroys a spell trap on board.
Maybe I'm just not. Oh, because I'm looking on the wrong person's deck list.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he does have Pen Knight's Breaksword and Super Quantum Mech Beast Grand Pulse, which you can also get as an ultimate now. That's the 3rd ultimate in the current OTS pack.
Yep.
Is it
It's a good one.
Into the speeder,
Oh,
just-
man.
No, it's just my
You
turn.
have to have the bullwhip, right?
Was that Bumbuku forced to scale? Yeah, that is one of the best draws you could have.
Yep.
Jeez.
Oh, yikes.
That is huge. The game is just wide open now. Oh, man.
We have seen a lot of really clutch draws.
Yeah, that is so far up there. Is he normal setting? Nekomata? Does he use Nekomata, I guess? Is that the only thing? That's the only... Oh, he can just search another Bumbuku, but I don't know why he would waste his search.
It's probably just to get... I mean, that doesn't get you anything if you put another Bambuku out, because
It's a 5.
Pendulum is scale, what, 3? Scale 5. They're both
Is
scale
Bumbuku 5?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Bambuku's a
yeah,
5.
Kieran's 2. Okay, that makes more sense.
So he does play
yeah.
Nekomata.
No, for a second I thought Bumbuku was the low scale for some reason.
Using it for that incredibly valuable scale, too, that's not named Kieran.
Yep.
And
Maxi.
Maxi.
Probably not going to stop Gibson, though. It's just too valuable to give, like... You're not giving Wigglestove any
You're
extra
giving
cards,
him-
technically.
Give him one card.
Yeah, well, it's just like he didn't even use Maxi, right? You just give him one card. And you get to make sure that the Super Quantum Mech isn't around next turn to destroy another one of your cards.
And
And you get to destroy oh, no, you don't get to destroy the scale. It depends if he wants to push more, but I don't think he should.
all right, double Bambuku. Does he play? No, it doesn't look like he plays
Totem Bird?
Totem Bird.
Yeah, I
which is
feel
a
like that's
little
only
surprising.
popular in the ones with Terratop.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen it very much in the other ones, but I could just be wrong. But
I'm a big fan of Totem Bird, even if I've just got Bambukus and Nekomata.
I guess Nekomata gives you another reason to use it.
And it's especially good here because you're playing against another Pendulum deck and being able to negate Pendulum spell. Pretty big.
Yeah, Totem Bird is a very powerful card. Took it a little while, but finally found a home.
Yep.
You have 2 hands?
He stacks up his Bambukus.
Break sword.
He summoned Phantom Knights, a Break Sword.
Another draw for Maxi.
I think that's his only
Oh yeah, thank you.
rank 3. I've not seen any others.
Is he able to just game Wigglestove here? Oh no, he wants to get a trigger off the
Yeah, he
combination.
destroys
That makes sense.
Combination.
Reading combination.
That would be what? Centric's 1,000 or
Isn't it? It's not 700.
700?
I actually don't know. I feel like it's 7 or 8 or something, but I could be wrong.
No, it's
8.
800 attack 1,000 even. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking of Archfiend Eris.
Yeah, oh yeah, the counterpart.
Got 16 and 19, about 50, 55.
Gofu.
Drops a Gofu. And he did normal summon.
You can attack for 19.
What did he normal summon?
Didn't he
The
normal summon
Oh, it's on
Bambuku?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
That's
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get it.
He is reminded of this.
65 is it?
Those does some quick math. It's still such a rough spot.
It is.
It's crazy how this game turned out. I did not. It seemed like Wilzo was so far ahead.
And, you know, he might still be because he's picked up a 1 and 8 pair. So he can blast away that Volflame, get it to the extra deck,
How much
and then set up for a Pendulum summon.
500 damage?
Should put him at 25, correct? 25 to 46.
I like not activating the desires now that I think about it. If he thinks he can do something the following turn,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. If he thinks the Maxi's going to give him enough cards where he can guarantee search, the full Malifaux fusion he needs, make sure that piece is just still part there. Up.
He picks up some kind of Metal Foes fusion.
Yep. Looks like
Is it full or standard?
I don't know. It looks like standard at first glance, but it's a little hard to tell. We'll see once they're ready to sit down. Might be
Question is,
full.
does he have any Metal Foes cards left in his deck to
Full
make the
Metal
play?
Foes fusion is what he picked up. So
That's really good here.
yeah. Now, do you think you just jam desires because there's minimal downside, or you got to use some Metal Foes first, right?
Yes.
Wait,
You want to
has-
get that Volflame in the extra deck.
Yeah. Was that his Banish pile face up? Oops.
No, that's graveyard.
No, the one on the right. That's that.
It might be.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is now that I think of it.
It's definitely. Well, oh, there's a rescue rabbit on top, I guess, so it makes sense that
Yeah.
at least the top
So
card's
that's
face up.
the
Yeah.
card. It looks like he's going to grab a combination. That's it face down. Now is he going to go Desires? Yes.
Looks like it.
Now he goes Desires. And
10 cards. 2 of the hand.
not a whole lot left.
Yep. I like looking at the pile first. Rather than the 10. Yeah. I respect that.
All right, and
Go
he's got
Fu eccentric. Those are good ones.
ooh, not bad. Not bad at all. Probably going to see a really big swing back here.
Yeah,
I would not be shocked if Chansey has enough ammo right now to just win. Those two 800 attack Archfiend Heiresses or Archfiend Eccentrics are a big liability in this situation.
Easy way to deal a lot of damage. It basically makes it so all you need is 5,000 damage or 6,000 damage, right? Split between two monsters, or 16. Nope, 5,200. Nope, I'm doing so much math wrong.
He's what, at 46, and that's 1,600?
16 and up, 62.
62.
Yeah, 62 split between two
And I
monsters.
mean, you can get 42 of that off of Utopia the Lightning.
Yeah. Yeah, so he probably has it here, and I'm sure he sees it.
He goes Gofu.
No tokens.
Does not summon tokens because he needs all the space.
Yep.
The effect.
No
Tokens are
effect.
optional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waves off the token effect, and now he's got his scales complete, and the pendulum swings back the other way towards Chansey's end.
Pendulum summon.
Oh, just summon them all. You know you want to.
It's a very satisfying feeling. Pendulum for my full field.
Fills up his field. So he's got the 2,400 attack Volflame, 2,100 defense Sealan, another 2,400 attack Volflame, and the 800 attack Archfiend Eccentric. And we know he has Full Metal Foes Fusion. Synchros for 8. Yes, 8. And he gets Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. And let's see if his Luster Pendulum is still in the deck.
Tokens.
Target destroy.
Yeah, and then was.
But he super needs it. He destroys his opponent's Luster Pendulum to shuffle Breaksword back into the deck.
Destroy this one, shuffle the.
Yeah, to your deck. Battle phase.
And now he's looking for damage.
Yep. I mean, full Malifaux Fusion is enough to do it, right? Because battle phase.
I believe so.
Boom.
Got the Full Metal Foes Fusion. Fuses him up. And Gibson
Glowstone
decides
gets
to
it.
shuffle
That's
up.
Good.
That was an exciting game. A lot of action on both ends there. And it really is the max C's. The double max C that Wigglestove started off with.
There, I don't know why he
You
summoned
got 3 minutes aside.
Breaksword. Like he could have just launched off Eccentric to shoot the Super Quantal Mech Beast.
Yep.
And I understand he wanted to trigger his own combination, but it's not like he could even do anything with that Metal Foe that turn.
Yeah.
So that's
But
what I was
that's
looking
the thing, though, is
he was
that
under the
he
impression he could
seemed to
normal
think he
summon.
hadn't normal summoned yet.
If he could have normal summoned though, did that actually make that big of a difference? Like, was it game damage? I don't think so. Like, it was just pressing for damage. I don't know how good that is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the last
I'm
thing,
not-
if my opponent only has a
weird.
couple cards, right, and they have one scale, and I know, as soon as they get another scale, there's a good chance. I don't know, especially because if he was making that line, he could have just eccentriced one of the scales, or he could have eccentriced the monster and then break-sworded a scale. Like that even seems
Right.
better. You know what I mean? Because you want to just keep your opponent off from being able to pendulum something, because that's probably how he's getting back into the game. And if I'm getting him an extra card, I want him to need an extra card to do something. So that was a little rough, but we'll see what happens going to game 2, 3. Side deck wise, do you see anything cool? Cosmic Cyclone, is that a card you want in the Malifaux's mirror?
Well, I mean, if you're going to get rid of their scales, it's better to not have them go to the extra deck.
Yeah, but the real one's Retaliating Sea, right? That's
Just nasty.
Yep, talk of the town.
The other thing with Cosmic Cyclone is that you could theoretically hit a combination with it to knock that out of the game without destroying it.
Yeah, which is super cool. Do you ever get the opportunity to hit like fusions with it? Or is that just not that big of a deal?
It doesn't happen often, but I mean, you know where they set it
Yeah.
because they set it. But if you're in that sort of position, aren't you just going to use it on the metal foe scale?
Yep. I agree.
Retaliating C is something we haven't seen in quite a while. It was
Yeah, that's-
mainly used against Shadows.
Yeah, it was definitely a big one against Shadowballs. It also got a little play against Necros, right? At one point.
A
But
little bit.
I
Not
feel
a
like
huge
that,
amount.
yeah, that quickly went away once people realized that it just wasn't the strongest.
Starter deck and there's a fusion zone.
Yeah.
You're
like
retaliating C. So you activate it when your opponent,
That's just it's just because naturally like
Right up
even
for
on
us.
my styles.
when your opponent activates a spell card that special summons monsters, you can summon it from your hand. And while you do that, anything that be sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So it gives you a Dark Claw or a Macrocosmos style effect. And if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you get an Earth Insect, 15 or less attack from your deck to your hand, except Retaliating C, and it's generally Max C, which is another card that Gibson is citing.
Yeah. Retaliating AC is a real good one. That upside of just when it, goes away, you get to add maxi is just crazy.
Yep.
Like the first part, if it was just the first effect, that card would still see just as much play, I feel like. But just icing on the cake.
The crazy thing about it is it's actually pretty tough.
Yeah.
It's got 1,400 attack and defense.
Back in the day, that was Manju Senju stats. That was a
right.
real problem.
You got to block off those ritual searchers.
Yeah. In actuality, that was never a problem because the reason it ended up not being popular, right, was because of Necros Attritia. Like you gave yourself a way to be Necros Attritia, which, believe it or not the best thing you could do in that format.
I banish my one Necros ritual spell, and then I banish your everything.
Yep.
Who knows?
And it looks like they're about to start the second.
Looks like
duel.
we are getting ready. Gibson looks like he has he's got a pretty nice opening.
A solid hand. Nothing crazy, but Metal Foes, the cards you want to just see are Bambuku and Gofu, right?
Right.
The difference is Wigglestove has Bambuku.
And at least for Gibson, he's going to have a lot of metal foes. He's going to have that critical mass of metal foes you need to really get crazy.
Yeah.
But as far as it going first hand, when you have multiple eccentrics, you're probably hoping for the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, with eccentric, you're typically just searching combination, right, and launching off your eccentric to shoot that to find more metal foes. Like that's what they use them turn one for most of the time, I think. But we'll see.
Volflame in the pendulum zone destroys eccentric. Eccentric goes to the extra deck.
I hope he also doesn't use combination, right?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't play it at all. I'm still kind of shocked. Yep, he does.
I don't know.
It's combination.
2 metal foes counter.
Metal foes counter, Vanity's Emptiness. No, it's not on his list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. Keep playing.
That's what I do too.
Is it just a decklist error where it was supposed to be 1 counter, 1 combination, you think? Or
Yeah.
I don't know how you
Maybe
make
it
that
was
mistake.
supposed to be
Uncomfortable.
2 combination,
Combination, 0
no
counter?
counter.
Ooh, that's rough.
It's still, as soon as that gets discovered, he'll take a penalty and be forced to play with counter instead.
Yeah.
Although this could be a weird case where there's 2 Matthew Gibsons and they're both playing metal foes.
We've
and one
seen
of them,
that before.
That
yeah,
exact
that is
thing has happened
crazy, but
before.
it's definitely happened before. Yeah, it sounds unreal to even talk about, but what was the deck? Was it Teller Knight or something?
It was the
one
Teller
night?
Knight deck, yeah. Destroys his own combination with the second
That's
Archfiend
Bismuth
Eccentric to
Gear.
get Bismuth Gear.
Yeah, it was a good one. I love Bismuth Gear. So cool.
Making sure that he gets these cards in the right order. Gold Driver destroys Volflame, setting Metal Foes Fusion. Bismuth Gear then destroys Gold Driver.
Pretty huge. No Bambuka or Gofu though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That does it straight.
Oh yeah.
Sets full Metal Foes Fusion.
Both of them?
Yep.
reactivates Silvered. And then Pendulum summons a big old pile of monsters.
For 4. Then he's going to be able to destroy that Bismuth gear, right, and make sure he gets a search during the end phase. Seems pretty good.
Yep.
Full Malifaux's Fusion first, or regular Malifaux's Fusion.
Yeah, you can't play full Metal Foes Fusion
Yeah,
because
because
it's
they just
quick play.
Yeah.
Here's Mithrilium. Going to ship that back to the deck for another draw. Metal Foes Fusion has this really powerful secondary effect where you shuffle it back into your deck and get to draw 1 card.
Yeah, that card is so crazy. It's sort of like, when I first read it, it just reminded me as this like weird Sinister Serpent-esque thing where I could discard it for cards, shuffle back, and
Yep.
always make sure to get a card. So it's cool that that has that aspect. There was one deck that played it like that, right?
Yeah,
it was
that
the
was
Ritual
the
Sanctuary
Cyber
deck.
Angel
Yep.
Herald deck.
That was really
pitching it
cool.
for Ritual Sanctuary.
Yeah, just a funny piece of tech.
And that made top 32 at a YCS.
Yeah, crazy. It was one of the European ones, right?
Yep.
Yep. Like
And he
Remedy,
picks
I
up
think.
a Bunbuku off that draw. I don't think he's normal summoned yet either.
No, I think you're right. That's a good draw. Albeit drawing a Kieran means he can't put the Kieran into play. But it's still not going to complain when you draw a Bambuku like that.
Gets a second Full Metal Foes Fusion by destroying Bismagir.
Awesome.
And then goes ahead and normal summons Bunbuku.
At least it's later.
Oh, yeah?
Now.
Finds another Bambuku.
Another Bunbuku.
I assume so that he has the option to scale it if he wants to, right? Because the other Metal Foes he has is a low scale.
Well, he's going to get a search in the end phase with Bismagir.
So that doesn't even matter. Oh, dropping more cards.
So excited. Yeah, I think he's going to try to put the Full Metal Foes Fusion into his hand.
Ooh, that's a cool combo.
Bounce back in.
Oh no, he's gonna.
Oh, he's
yeah,
putting
so
the
he
scale
gets a
back in his
reuse.
hand.
Yeah.
So even if he just does that, even if he didn't reactivate it, it'd be interesting that he could get all of the cards off his field so they couldn't just be destroyed by ignition speed removal.
Fuck.
Silver reactivated, destroys Archfiend Eccentric this time. And now he's looking for another combination.
Plus combination? Yeah, I got you.
Fusion combination.
And then with the face also.
Yeah. Stop with that.
And it's his end phase search. He goes for Volflame.
Main phase.
And Chansey is up. And hopefully this deckless thing will not make the difference in the match.
Yeah, definitely.
Normal summons Bunbuku.
Yeah, there's this unfortunate aspect to the Malifaux's Mirror where going first is a huge advantage because you're the one you're forcing your opponent to react to what you've established, right, with Mithrilium.
Yep.
And then when they do react, you get to do tricks with like full Malifaux's Fusion for Alcast and all these other things to really just put a damper on what they're trying to do.
Flips up combination there. That's important because
It's just
it's
painful
got to
mirror.
be face up.
Yeah, you can.
Uses Kieran. Stove has Dimensional Barrier in his hand, along with Kieran, Pot of Desires, Cosmic Cyclone, Archfiend Eccentric. After the search resolves, Full Metal Foes Fusion is activated, and he fuses Mithrilium with Volflame. To get Orichalc.
Mr. Graves, extra.
And then the Thrillium is sent to the graveyard, so it activates to summon a Metal Foes Pendulum monster.
Okay, just clarify. Mithrilium summon, Volt Flame, and combination summon
So, yeah,
with
this will
Mithrilium.
go.
Yeah, I think it's like Chain Link 1,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chain Link 2, something.
Yeah.
Okay,
With
we get
Grave and
it.
this effect
And
obviously,
then
yeah.
when Wolflame is summoned, the combination
Yeah.
you shouldn't have activates as well.
Yeah, that's Bumbuga's there.
Move is there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is a very cool card.
Yeah, super cool.
Fusion monsters fusion summoned. You can target a Metal Foes fusion monster or Metal Foes monster in your graveyard with a lower level than that monster and summon it. Sent to the graveyard from the field, you can add a Metal Foes monster from your deck to your hand.
Yeah.
The neat thing about this is that it's just if a fusion monster is fusion summoned,
Including your opponent.
you don't have to.
Yeah. It's very similar to like Wind Up Factory, Gateway of the Six Samurai, how those cards played interesting roles in the mirror match just because they sort of stopped your opponent from doing things because they didn't want you to fuel your cards.
Right. Pot of Desire's up next. Takes a look. He's
3
banished all of his
Gofus.
Gofus, which has an incredibly small chance of happening.
How many Bismuth Gear does he use? If it's only 2, then both those went away as well.
Yeah.
Just 2 Bismuth Gear. That's
That's
hefty desires. Jeez.
actually just the worst hit-off Desires I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know about the worst, but that was real bad.
I mean, normally you only lose, at the absolute worst, you lose all copies of one card.
Yeah,
Not all
but he
copies
lost,
of
yeah.
both cards.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. You just get rewarded for playing 3-0s more so than 2-0s when you're using Desires, right? Because of that exact situation.
Yep.
You only need to banish 2 Bismuth Gears to be out of Bismuth Gears.
And he's picked up Retaliating Sea.
2 cards in hand, right?
2 and end, yes.
Thinking about the Cosmic Cyclone, what to use it on. Activates Archfiend Eccentric. Got a 7 and an 8. Archfiend Eccentric not long for that pendulum zone.
Yeah, how many inertia? That's right.
Destroys Eccentric to destroy his own Metal Foes combination. That'll get him another search.
Super rare.
Ooh.
Gold driver. Cool one.
OTS back Gold Driver there.
Yeah. All these OTS back cards, man.
Yeah, like I want them, but I can't get them because I can't go to tournaments.
It took you all a while to print Frog Foil, but I'm just glad you finally did.
Yep. Well, you could still go get them. I just can't.
Yeah.
Puts Volflame in the other pendulum zone.
2 hand, right? Or 3 hand?
I have 4.
Oh, you got it, sorry.
Choice. Steelin's destroyed next by Volflame. And he'll set Metal Foes Fusion. He was going to set Metal Foes Fusion. Now he reconsiders. Takes full Metal Foes Fusion. I guess he's looking to open up his plays on Gibson's turn. Then activates Gold Driver.
And so check your mind.
We'll see if he destroys the Banbuku first.
Yeah, it's fine.
Get a little more value out of his pendulum zone.
There he goes. Banbuku to the extra deck. And he again takes a look at that Metal Foes Fusion. I wonder if he's thinking about how to time his plays to summon a fusion during his opponent's turn and then maybe use Dimensional Barrier. But that would turn off the effect of your own fusion monster.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting spot.
I think you gotta clear that out and just call Pendulum. If you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's an actual Metal Foes counter. And he pendulums for 4. So that on its own, not super exciting.
Yeah, not the most. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. They're getting to the situation where it's literally who's going to have more actions to make, right? Who has the last response?
Right.
Very reminiscent of old Yu-Gi-Oh! In this very weird way. It's just whoever has that last little thing. This is going to start with Archfiend Eccentric.
Take out the Orichalc. And that activates Orichalc's effect. Which takes out full Metal Foes Fusion. Next up, activates Kieran, bouncing back Steelin and Mithrilium.
Yeah, well, that's probably going to prompt a response, right, I assume? Is his other set full Malphos Fusion?
It is.
Yeah.
Just what's he going to get with it?
Here we see Retaliating Sea. Don't see it often used on your own turn, but against quick play fusion spells, it'll definitely happen.
There it is.
It's been a while since I've
And that stops Mithrilium from being sent to the graveyard.
Yep, so it won't get its effect. The big deal. Yeah, that interaction with full Malphos Fusion and Retaliating Sea feels way too close to El Shaddoll Fusion and Different Dimension Ground.
I mean, full Metal Foes Fusion is basically the same card.
Yeah. I just remember how big of a blowout Different Dimension Ground was back during the Shaddoll format. I don't think Retaliating Sea is as big of a deal, right? But it seems pretty huge when they use it on Mithrilium. Because you invest like a substantial amount of resources into Mithrilium, even though you're using Pendulum cards.
Yeah. And we've got, is that Adamant?
Looks like it.
That's Adamant. Doesn't do anything, but it's big in level 5.
Double check Kieran.
Pretty sure it says if you do that.
Pause time.
Wait, does it say return both or return them?
Return them to the hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that it still goes good.
Yeah.
It'll still back to the hand?
Yeah.
And Steelin goes back to the hand as the end result.
It, them, whatever, it doesn't need to be the same target.
That's 3 more cards. So
Yeah,
that's enough
That's
for
a
now.
good position to be in, right? Your opponent has to react to your Kieran. You have full Melphos fusion set still, right?
Yep. And Gibson picks up that Luster Pendulum again.
Yep, gonna be another good one. Gonna make sure he finds that Kieran. Then probably,
Yeah, he has to be very careful here.
Everything's still banished, right?
yeah.
It checks Retaliating Sea one more time. Normal summons Banbuku and activates it.
What's up?
Checks the Pendulum monsters in Gibson's extra deck. Whole lot of Arch Phoenix entrance going
Yeah.
on.
And there's Dimensional Barrier. First time we've seen that on camera. First Dimensional Barrier of the weekend.
And he chains to it with Kieran's effect.
I
So
like
he
that.
most likely picked Pendulum.
Yep.
This gets
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, banished. For that, Mask of Darkness.
That puts a definite damper in Gibson's plans. Let's go ahead and bring up Dimensional Barrier since it's the first time we've seen it.
Yeah, Dimensional Barrier is just crazy. We were talking about it before. It's basically Vanny's Emptiness for a turn, but it's a little more than that because it also stops effects. You can use it sort of in this position where it's back and forth, whereas Emptiness sometimes is a little weaker. The fact that they can't Twin Twister it, obviously a big deal.
Yeah. I have you guys build it. It's been the same since the game started.
And it really puts a damper on. Basically, Gibson's entire turn was predicated on being able to Pendulum summon.
Yeah.
And that just got taken away with him, along with his biggest monster on the field. And it's not going to be disrupting Wigglestove once it gets back to his turn.
Yep. That's a big part about it. The same reason we see like Vanny's Emptiness, one aspect of it being so powerful is that you get to choose when to turn it off, right? As soon as you play cards, send it to the graveyard.
Kieran is banished as the Retaliating Sea, but it was destroyed, and so Metal Foe's counter can be activated. Special summon a Metal Foe's monster from the deck.
That's unfortunate that Kieran's banished though because of the Retaliating Sea, right?
That's right.
Yep, that's a big deal.
Counter banish.
And so is the counter. And it has a graveyard effect, so it's also kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, Wigglestove kind of needs to either
Now,
close
here's
this
the
one
thing.
out or...
I don't know that that was quite a legal play. Either player can special summon monsters of the declared type, so if he picked Pendulum, then he actually can't do that.
That is definitely an issue. See if we can...
It seems like a bit of fair play, a bit of turnabout is fair play. Well, you're playing a card that you didn't write on your deck list. Well, I'm going to do this. It's definitely not intentional, though. It's just a case of forgetting what's going on.
Yeah, all the cards are pretty very complicated.
Spanish.
Spanish. A lot of people are not used to playing with the Magna class.
Destroys his own Bunbuku with Silvered.
How much time's left tomorrow?
50 seconds.
50 seconds.
5 seconds.
What?
50 seconds.
Yeah.
Sets Metal Foe's Fusion. And says go.
Yeah, pass it back.
Effective Dimensional Bear has ended.
Yep,
And
initiative
Wigglestove
back to
is up.
Wigglestove. Draws a Desires.
He's seen quite a lot of Pot of Desires in these two
Yeah.
games. destroys his own Retaliating Sea now with Volflame. And sets Metal Foe's Fusion.
So he attacked, right? He crashed?
No, he used Volflame's effect.
Because he destroyed it, he can get Max C to his hand.
Yep, that's a good one. Not only does he get to turn off the card that's negatively affecting him,
0,
but he gets to buy back a Maxi at the same time.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Real good in Malfo's mirror, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So dice can count up to 6, essentially.
I mean, it's just really good in Malfo's mirror, though, because they can't side anti-spell, right? Like, that's the big thing. Like, anti-spell is actually the card you want against Metal Foes, but Retaliating Sea is, like, you know, sort of the second best, but doesn't hurt you too badly. Even though it is asymmetrical, right? It affects both players.
Second Metal Foe's Fusion set. Gold Driver destroys Volflame in the Pendulum Zone. And does he have the appropriate card in his hand? Yes, he's got a Metal Foe's Steal-In to complete that Pendulum Zone again.
Counting cards, saying how bad this Pot of Desires could be. It looks pretty bad. That he would wind up with.
I don't know that you need it.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it's rough. Yep.
He's
Learning
really
hard.
struggling
Yep,
with it, but he
finally
goes for it.
decides.
I'm searching for the
Oh,
Max.
you're right.
Chansey, I'm going to have to give you a
Quick shuffle up first, though.
Yep, so they're searching. See how many get laid down.
Picks up another Retaliating Sea, and is that Luster Pendulum?
Looked like it for a second. That
Luster
second
Pendulum?
Retaliating Sea, though, that is a big deal because that means not only does he get to push and do whatever he wants this turn, but the next time Gibson tries to get back in, he has Retaliating Sea. Now he gets to see how many cards are banished. Half of his deck.
20.
Yeah.
20 plus whatever was banished from his own Retaliating. 22 banished cards. Activates Steal-In. No, that is Luster Pendulum.
Yep.
He has an opportunity to set Gibson's board position back to the Stone Age.
Yeah. All four come down.
Oh, how brutal is that if you have the oh, he doesn't have level 4.
No. Yeah, so he's not able to do much other than represent a 1950 body, right? Luster Pendulum can't be used for Xyz or Fusion.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if he could bring out Ignis through there and destroy the remaining Pendulum
yeah,
scale
it was
to shuffle
over.
that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
combination, look out.
Can he get, but can he do something with Mithrilium? Does he have a way to put it into the grave and then trigger it to get back a level 4? Like use Archfiend Eccentric to destroy it, get a level 4, and do something super cute like
I mean,
that?
he could fuse it.
That also works
Fuse
too.
it into a second one.
Oh, he plays 2 copies of Malphos Fusion.
Yeah, he
that
got
doesn't
them
really
both.
matter. Yeah.
I don't know if Gibson is just choosing not to use a combination,
Or he had forgotten.
or doesn't know that he can.
I mean, a big part of the Malphos mirror match, Billy was telling me before, is always bouncing opposing combinations with your Mithrilium. Because you kind of set them back in tempo a lot, and that's a big deal. But it looks like, oh, just straight up normal summoning, or...
Yeah, it looks like he just flat out normal summoned it.
Yep. That might be, that looks like enough. Yeah,
It is
boom.
enough. And Chansy Wigglestove
Yeah, workshop at Metal Foes right
takes
there.
a really strange back and forth
Yeah.
match, especially
I never
that
seemed like
second
he was
game.
that far behind. Like a little bit for a second in the first game, right? When it was the first game, right? Or was it the second game? That at one point it felt like Wigglestove had it, then Gibson had it, then Wigglestove seized it back.
Yeah, that
I
was
think
the
that was the
first
first
game.
game, yeah.
As soon as he got those last couple draws off of Max C and happened to be, oh, it's a scale 1 and a scale 8. Well, my next
Yeah.
card doesn't matter, but it's Pot of Desire, so
Yeah, I mean the high card.
it's real good.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like you can tell someone who's had a lot of runs with metal foes, right? Because there's just such a high card redundancy in terms of like effects. All the metal foes do something very similar, so you can sort of just navigate these weird games and just sort of do these weird things your opponent's not seeing, and also just the additional like layers that a full Metalphos fusion adds, right? Like you don't exactly know when they're going to respond. You have to threaten these Alchests or Mithriliums at the same time. They can pull that trigger anytime. It's pretty cool. I really like the Metalphos mirror.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I like the Metalphos deck a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
It seems like it shouldn't do a whole lot since all of the monsters say the same thing, but just the different numbers on them and what they are and the other cards that they search out of your deck add a lot of depth and complexity.
Yeah, Mithrilium Alchest to me and the full Metalphos fusion that just made me love this deck so much more than before.
It's very, very cool. Mithrilium is one of my favorite cards in that set.
Yeah, no, me too, yeah.
That is such a cool card.
It's crazy how good that
And I'm
card
sure
is.
that when I go to do the Invasion Vengeance regional update before we leave for the Christmas break, I'm pretty sure we're going to have those cards in there.
I'm sure.
I'm almost certain.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what we saw a lot of. We saw a lot of this.
Pot of Desires.
Bunbuku,
And Pot of Desires.
Pot of Desires.
Mithrilium too.
It's not like he's lying to us on this sheet. He showed us exactly what we're going to see. 2 Metalphos fusion, a lot of Bunbukus, and Pot of Desires. So I think that's the winning formula for getting your match request form
Bunbuku
thing
and
shown
Desires.
is just tell us exactly what we're going to see. And make sure that that is in fact the case.
Yeah.
How good is that retaliating sea?
It's crazy.
Like destroy your own retaliating sea
the fact
with
that
the
you can go,
Metalphos. And
you know,
get
they're trying
max
to push.
C.
Yes, they're trying to
What?
push you retaliating see them, right? They get set back. Then during your turn, you get a free card to destroy, and you get a maxi off of it. It basically just counts itself as 2 trap cards. Like you get
It's
2
really,
turns.
really
And we're
good.
talking about how disrupting your opponent for a turn is so important in this format. Retaliating C does it twice. Like that's huge. It's crazy, and it helps you where even if you can do it right, you know, they bite the bullet a little, lose some monsters, and they somehow deal with it. Even when they deal with it and try to push more in the same turn, you still get a maxi. Like there's just so many.
It just keeps on happening.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually see the Cosmic Cyclone because he didn't need it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how far he was able to swing back once he got
Super crazy. Yeah, I
his
feel like
pendulum
Cosmic
scale.
Cyclone's playing such a weird role in some of these decks right now. It's more so that like Metalphos just really doesn't want Twin Twister because they don't want to discard that
Right.
extra card. And Cosmic Cyclone, even though it looks like, oh, well, what are you banishing with it, right? That's what you'd think it's used for. But sometimes it's really just the closest thing you can get
Just
to MST.
4 or 5 more Mystical Space Typhoons.
Yeah.
And the common trend lately has been to max out on Mystical Space Typhoons.
Yeah, it's
So,
so good in combination with combination.
Let's go hear from the man himself. Here's Billy with Chansy Wigglestove.
Camera right there. We are here at YCS Anaheim right after the round 4 feature match with the winner, Chansy Wigglestove. Chansy, what deck did you choose to play today?
I played this awesome pendulum deck called Metalphos.
Metalphos. Was there anything special about your deck that you think might give you the victory, the edge over all the other Metalpho players out here this weekend?
I played Tour Guide and Rescue Rabbit in the same deck. That hasn't happened since like 2011. And then I also played 2 of the regular fusion.
Oh, that is very new. Tour Guide from the Underworld, summoning Archfiend Eccentric, I'm assuming, from your deck.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the reasoning behind playing 2 Metalpho Fusion as opposed to 2 full Metalpho Fusion?
There's actually a bunch of reasons. Number 1, I play like 3 Desires. So they're hands where I want to set like combination so I can use Eccentric with it. But then I don't want to risk playing Pot and banishing Fusion, but there's no way I can search it before doing that. So that's reason 1. So there's less chance to banish it. And then reason 2 is if you play any good ABC player and you set Fusion, they're going to instantly banish it and think that you're out of plays, right? So that's what they do, and then you still have it. And also reason 3 is like Retaliating C in the mirror match, which banishes everything, but then you still have a way to win by having 2.
Oh, that's very solid reasoning. It's this kind of thinking that might give Chansey the edge this weekend to come out on top with his Metalpho deck. Back to you, Jerome and Robbie.